Hello everybody, this is the next episode of your favorite series, Technology is Not Evil. As always, we are live on Facebook, YouTube and LinkedIn. So please let us know if you can perfectly hear us, if you can perfectly see us. And of course, please, I encourage you to ask questions during our meeting. We're open to any questions or comments of you guys, so please be active and do not be shy. Do not be shy at all. And the topic of our today's conversation is top cybersecurity challenges in 2023. So we'll be discussing a little bit about the current situation in the cybersecurity landscape, and also trying to forecast how things in security can change in the following year. And my today's guests are Dmytro Sirosh, Security Portfolio Manager in Infopulse, and his colleague from Infopulse, Kostiantyn Losinskyi, Security Architect. Sorry, Konstantin, I said your surname again wrong. Losinskyi. This is the correct way to spell it. Sorry for that. And from the side of the host, again, my modest person, CTO at No Fluff Jobs, Marek Psiuk, and I have a great pleasure of talking with two experts on the matter of cybersecurity. So hello guys, nice to have you here, and if you could kindly briefly introduce yourself and your expertise in the security field.
Hello guys, my name is Dmitry, and as already been said, I'm security portfolio in Infopulse. I'm security expert with more than I would say 15 years of expertise. So I've been working in different areas like banking, telecom. Now I work for Infopulse. So nice to meet you.
Perfect.
Hello everyone, I'm Konstantin. I work at position of security architect here in Infopulse. So my main challenges at work is to solve clients' problems, and now there are a lot of global challenges, also the ones that we will talk about today. And my experience is also very long coming to the ages. It's about 16 security. I already don't remember that. And from in the subject that we will discuss today, it's about cyber war. Mostly I'm from the beginning in Ukraine of this cyber war. It's 12-14.
Okay. Thanks guys. Yeah, so I think that we can start with the current situation in cybersecurity, especially if you could maybe give some brief overview what's going on right now regarding the cyber war in the context of war in Ukraine. What are the details? What are the forces that are fighting with each other here, and what could be some potential consequences, or what we should be aware of in the context of having our security covered in a good way when we're doing our businesses online?
Yeah, sure. And let me step in. We see current situation from two perspectives. First, as Ukrainians, so we are inside of country, and we see what's happening, what's going on. We participate everything that is our today's. And second point of view, which we can see, everything is our customers, because we have lots of customers around the globe, I would say. Mostly they are located in Europe. And that's why we keep an eye on everything that's going on, everything that's happening. Some of issues we are trying to prevent or even detect and prevent from our perspective. However, that make us aware about what's happening, what's are in trends nowadays, what most companies suffer from. And that's why we can say what's really relevant for any business that's located in Europe, for example. Maybe Kostya will add something.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, I would say that cyber war began just a few months before the real war happened in Ukraine. So all of our Ukrainian companies, almost all companies and all governmental agencies were suffering from those attacks. So we understood that something will happen shortly from those activities. And then when everyone got prepared, yes.
And just to understand what these activities were exactly, how did you detect them? And were they like originating from Russia, or was it like some more complex situation?
You can't always just understand where is the attack coming from, basing on the IP address or domain names, because themselves somehow and someone want to conduct false flag operations. It's all in cybersecurity. What particularly was happening, first of all, it started from hidden operations to breach inside the companies, inside the governmental agencies. They wanted to sit there, gather information, control the infrastructure somehow. So it began from typical phishing attacks. As always, it was very massive, coming from mostly from Russia to Ukraine, from a few hosting providers. It was millions of emails every day. Sometimes it was from hacked accounts inside Ukraine also, but they were controlled by from the outside of the country. So the second step is, of course, trying to breach public-facing services. They were attacking them and silently controlling them. And then when the physical war, began, we faced with massive DDoS attacks targeting all the Ukrainian agencies, even ISPs, all of communication centers were targeting DDoS attacks just to try to break our communication ability to communicate or with the other world. So that was what was happening. Then Ukraine replied to this very quickly. So almost all of our major services or important or critical services were covered by different layers of protection, starting from the DDoS protection until up to hardening of those services and hardening against targeted attacks and so on. So after that, the cyber war spread to Europe because a few weeks passed and all Europe started to help Ukraine. So those attacks spread to Europe, and if one of the countries says in the mass media that they will help Ukraine, especially with weapons or in military context, the next day or even in the same day, they are suffering from the same attacks. DDoS attacks, when they try to just to break everything down and show that their side is not working at the moment, that they have a weak protection, and see who's helping Ukraine. They can't protect themselves. But DDoS attack is when it stops, everything continues to work. And the attackers, their strategy is to show that the website was down about for a minute. So then it goes up, actually. The next layer, they are trying to breach inside the... Yes.
Just to understand, so, but because you guys are located in Ukraine, yeah, so you can see and then experience this problem in a direct way, and you've started to investigate this because also your client companies are located in Ukraine, and just to understand what's going on, you were doing some monitoring and basic understanding of what's happening on the market in the country's infrastructure, or you do it independently?
Yeah, because of business we do, because it's related to security. That's our job to keep an eye on what's going on, what's trending nowadays, and such mass activities like started when Kostas told. We didn't have a chance to miss that because it was everywhere. Lots of actions, lots of systems or services suffered. And what's important in here is that attackers very often they try to breach or affect, I would say, some public faces services just in order to show that people, government or business cannot control their IT, their services, and any threat actor can impact such business or such service. That's why, as most people are affected, that's better for attackers in such situation.
Okay, so to have some psychological impact on all the people that you see, your government is not safe, your businesses is not safe, we can attack them whenever we want, we have the upper hand and so on, yeah? This
Yes.
is what is happening.
That's correct. And
okay.
Also,
and
one more point regarding the psychological attacks, as you pointed correctly, there were a lot of attacks on services, such as payment system for bus, for taxi, and so on. So people can't use their everyday services. They can't reach their work because they can't pay for a bus or for underground and so on. And I saw a lot of attacks because sometimes I monitor what are they talking about inside of their groups. They were planning exactly impact those services just to show them that their services are breachable and can't withstand those attacks. And so everyone would know. Also, they tried to show that that's exactly those groups in the SME that are controlled, mass information services that are controlled by Russian government.
Okay. So so this psychological effect was important, and the fact that it impacted everyday's life, that you cannot use taxi, you cannot order Uber, or you cannot, I don't know, pay for a bus ticket. It was impacting directly a lot of people. And when the war started and some European countries committed to help Ukraine in different ways, then there were also some cyber attacks directed towards these countries to also show that they're not like safe in the cybersecurity context, yeah?
Yeah, that's correct. And also there were a lot of data of citizens of different countries that to show that for a citizen of those countries that their government can't protect their private data. So it's like also psychological attack for citizens and for the government. So they are trying that someone is someone can steal their money or compromise even more governmental agencies and control something without their knowledge, like their bills, their how everything operates, and so on.
So okay, and the basic attacks that you mentioned that were undertaken were simply intensification of phishing, but also some denials of service and also distributed denial of service, and what other some data theft or identity theft. What were this most common attacks that were occurring in this period before the war started and also after it started?
Dima, will you say about them?
Yes, sure. So we should say that those types of attacks which are easier to get or easier to achieve, so they are most popular. So then that's why we can say that DDoS attacks they can be done within a couple of scripts and they will have significant impact. That's why if lots of people will start doing that, overall impact will be quite high and that will be visible. Phishing attacks, they are not so easy to do, but they have more impact in terms of collecting some sensitive data, some private data from users, like their accounts, etc. So you can use such collected data later when you try to make some more high impact for such company or government body. That's why we can say that nowadays DDoS attacks they are most spreaded, and that's why lots of people can see results of such attacks. However, identity theft through phishing or through another techniques, it's more, I will say, valuable attack that can be done, and that's why people should take care on what they are clicking, what they are trying to open within their emails or attachments in emails. That's about some common security rules while using your computers, etc.
Okay, so let's move on with the subject of the cyber war situation, because Kostas, you were explaining how it progressed once the war has started. How then this situation developed, and how do you see how it looks now after quite a lot of months after the war has started? Is this cyber attacks still that prevalent and that common and that impactful, or has it maybe changed somehow? And if so, then in which direction?
Yeah, it's changed a lot because in the first day, as we already talked about, there were mostly DDoS attacks, massive DDoS attacks, but now all the companies have necessary protections, almost all the companies, even our governmental agencies who don't have enough financing received help from different big companies. So conducting DDoS attacks against those sites is not very efficient, I would say. So they can do anything. They just wasting resources from the attacker side and from the defending cloud. So they moved their attacking capabilities to still weak targets, and it in almost all cases are located somewhere in Europe. Those companies who didn't face with the attacks earlier and didn't thought that they will be facing with those attacks. And regarding the evolution of the cyber war, of course, it changed a lot because as it started from to damage at least something, Now it migrated to steal the valuable information, steal the intelligence information from the internal resources, or produce fake information inside the companies, like create an email with almost true information, but with some insights that are not very true. So everyone would think in different way, this approach. And also, of course, as Dmitry said, it's identity theft, because when you use account of a valid user, a lot of people would trust you. Even nowadays, even when everyone is trained, if your colleague writing you an email and even as your colleagues typically write, you will trust this email. So, and of course, attacks become a lot more sophisticated because more and more attackers are joining those groups on different levels, from just copy and paste the script that Dmitry said. Yeah, DDoS attack, you just have to copy a script from GitHub. It's one command, and the second command is to run that script. So 2 commands in Linux shell, and you're a part of DDoS attack.
I believe it's called script kiddie, yeah, the person
yeah, that's correct. Sometimes
on the very level.
Yeah, sometimes they are not even script kiddies. Sometimes they are just interested to do something, to participate to something, because script kiddies can can do something themselves. But in those chats, they are just giving command lines, and end user just copy that and run that. Okay. So that's all. But now attacks are more sophisticated, and they are mostly targeting home computers of interesting users. They are mostly targeting infrastructures of the agencies or companies. They're trying to breach at least somewhere, and they are trying a lot of techniques to breach there.
Okay,
it's
yeah.
Here that each targeted attack, it requires time for preparation, for investigation, for discovery what's inside of company, what they have publicly facing. That's why such targeted attacks, they couldn't happen in one day or very fast. That's why each company who is seriously works with security or with penetration testing or with trying to hack someone, they should get prepared, they should get some insider information, etc., etc. And that's why it takes time. And now all such lots of information collected, and that's why now we can see more complicated attacks, more multi-stage attacks against companies.
And sometimes, just to add a few words, we see that one hack groups they are focusing on gaining initial access to the company, so initial breaching. They just want to breach inside the company, and then they are giving gathered credentials or those accesses to another teams of hackers who are conducting further lateral movement or other activities inside the company. So they are cooperating also.
Okay, it was interesting because you mentioned that at the beginning there was this DDoS attack, but most of the companies and also public organizations are now secured against this type of attack vectors, and I wonder what is the most common way of being properly secured in this context. This may be valuable to our listeners. Yeah, that okay, you can just wonder, is my service, is my company bulletproof against DDoS? And if not, how can I maybe try to reach some safety point here?
Dima, will you start?
So actually, I would say that Most probably, in order to understand how are you protected against most popular attacks, you should go to specific security teams that can make testing, and they can evaluate your infrastructure. They can say where are weak points inside of your system, inside of your service, or inside of your infrastructure. Such service called penetration testing, and idea of such service is to emulate activities of real attackers, real hackers. Just do the same, but not try to hide their activities. So everything that hackers do, such team will do in order to ensure that your environment is secure, or in order to say you which weak points do you have right now, and recommend you what to do with them.
Okay. Okay. However, in the context of DDoS, because you mentioned, Kostas, that it's the defending cloud, it's simply wasting resources of the defending cloud. So assuming that our services are located in the cloud, so there can be some countermeasures against DDoS that are like cloud native and can simply be used to be safer, against this attack vector.
Yeah, that's correct. But only using the cloud to help you to protect, it's a small percentage of successful protection. Because there are a lot of different IP addresses. For example, your external router, it can be also DDoSed and be reachable for your clients. So everything must be carefully planned and then used. Why we say about cloud? Because as I mentioned in one of our webinars, 1 million attacking bots is always will conduct bigger amount of traffic than any powerful server can handle itself.
Yeah.
So the cloud, which consists of thousands of servers, thousands of routers, and a lot of solutions that are like balancing the traffic across them, will always handle much bigger attack and filter out much bigger attack than you and your infrastructure can handle yourself. Of course, there are a lot of big companies who can handle a lot of by themselves, but it costs a lot of money. So if your public-facing services are like not bringing you more than 1 million a day, it of course very helpful to use cloud services to protect from DDoS attacks, to protect from web services and so on. It's cloud WAF services, and also filter out your traffic, even your internet traffic. You can use cloud, which will hide your infrastructure behind its large amount of resources. So your, for example, company of 10 people will be protected behind the cloud, which can handle terabits of traffic per second.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that's a good idea to use this native cloud solution to be like safer, but it's important, as you mentioned, to be aware that only a fraction of proper bulletproof protection against wide variety of attacks. Yeah, so just to be safe, you have to do your pen testing. You have to give, you have to have some auditing of some teams of specialists, as you guys, to know the exact weak spots, weak links, and then problems in your infrastructure, in your software, just to know what have to be improved, what have to be secured in a better way.
Yeah, we'll try to bridge you from the to the weakest point. So you must know your weakest points.
Yeah.
Mentioned
Yeah,
that
exactly.
there is no such magic pill or magic tablet against any security issues. So even having cloud in place, even having lots of security solutions in place, that doesn't mean that you are safe, because it makes confusion for lots of people that okay, I have firewall, why I was breached, I have some security solution in place, but all such solutions, cloud solutions, on-premise solutions, they are complicated. They might be configured in different ways, and your staff, your IT staff, or your security team, they should be aware about what their solutions or solutions you use they're capable to do, what they can protect you against of, and they should be properly configured, properly fine-tuned, and what's important, they should be verified within some periodicity, because everything changes, lots of security threats become known, and what was safe yesterday, it doesn't mean that it remains safe today or even tomorrow.
Or
Okay.
something can be changed by someone without notifying. I had a lot of cases when a client had a good protection, everything was well tested, well prepared, well configured, but one of the administrators, he had to conduct his activity. There were two ways to think a little and make everything in a good way, and don't to think and just make everything straight. So he chose the second approach, and the next day that infrastructure was breached.
Okay.
Very big story.
Yeah. It's
Here
not easy,
that
possibly.
each service that is facing to the internet, to the public, it's probing many times in a second. So there are lots of hackers, there are lots of teams that do it permanently. So they scan everything, every internet, and they try to find at least open services, try to hack them. So and it's what that's hidden from eyes, from just users of such services and solutions, but it's a problem. So it's battles that happening each second.
Yeah, hidden battle that's constantly taking place. Yeah, and in this context of the weakest link, that we have an interesting question from our listeners. A person from YouTube asks, "Will human always be the weakest link in terms of security?" What do you guys think about that?
It depends, of course. Because
the best answer ever.
It depends on what is the target, because if someone is targeting your public-facing server and everything made fine, still that server is can be reached by attackers 24/7, even when a security administrator is fall asleep. So human here is not the weakest part if he does the best he can. But in some attacks, which were mentioned earlier, for example, phishing attacks or all the attacks that are targeting identities, user identities, of course, human will be the weakest part. That's why there are a lot of services that are helping to make the correct decisions, even for untrained people.
Mm-hmm.
For example, passwordless authentications, multi-factor authentications, different types, a lot of verifications. So the attackers are breach the system where a user who is under the social attack can't like make a mistake and do a mistake.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, please.
yeah, because I was wondering if you could maybe provide like a single example of most common problem or most common bad action from a human in terms of security that is taking place, and also if you could point to one thing that could be done by a company or individual that will enormously improve security of this company or of this individual in terms of this weakest link of a human in the human context?
I would say that most valuable in terms of breach is trying to download something that you do not were expecting or you do not trust for sure, or visiting sites that you do not sure or which links to which you received from untrusted or from unverified sender. That's the most issue. Or when you try to download some software from untrusted sources, most probably you will have troubles with that. Regarding protection, Kostya, will you comment?
I just wanted to add, the main recommendation here is don't do stupid things on your workplace. This is the main recommendation. But of course, security always must help users to be tolerant for stupid actions. For example, if a user downloaded malware or something, of course, security team must help prevent spreading that malware or even opening that malware. So the recommendation is, if you use email, use it for a provider who also offers different protection services, starting from verification of the sender and ending to the sandbox analysis of all files that are attached. If your users have the ability to surf the internet openly and freely, always verify where are they surfing, not looking at what content are they looking, but verify those content, verify the downloadable files. It will cover 99% of typical prevent 99% of typical attacks that were happening among all of my clients from the past. Only these two recommendations. Then, of course, it's against mass attacks. But users, of course, must always understand what are they doing. They always must think what are. So if someone just sent a user a file which is named "You win a lottery," they don't open it. How does lottery know what is your corporate email? Very interesting question. So just thinking what are you doing will also add a few nines to the protection of your company. Of course, it's an overall recommendations against users. If you have services that are published to the internet, of course, you must protect them at least with the best practices from the vendor. Because if you have, for example, your corporate video conferencing solution and just read the security guide, it handles almost all the security problems or weaknesses that this solution can face with. Update this solution regularly, and also it will cover and prevent 99% of attacks against your organization. Of course, it won't protect you from 0 day, but not a lot of organizations facing with 0 days. On my long career, I had only 2 cases when my clients faced with a real 0-day attacks using real 0-day exploits. Only 2
But the
times.
most spread problem in this, so we have lots of solutions, lots of technologies to protect users, but the most common issue is using weak passwords, which was relevant 10 years ago, and it's still relevant because users, they are lazy. We are lazy for sure, as that's normal for us. But you should keep in mind that your password is the key from your car, from your home door, and that's why you should keep it safe and do not use simple password, because lots of services were breached through simple passwords that are the same for lots of services, and it's important to try make it harder. There are some recommendations that allow you to make such passwords easy to remember but hard to guess. For example, you can use password as a combination of 3 different words or which were divided by some specific digits or specific symbols, and in such case it will be much harder to breach that or to guess such password. But simple and weak passwords, so they are everywhere.
Okay. Yeah.
Once I had a case, a pen test project, when we guessed 20% of corporate passwords in a single day. Just knowing the template of the password that their IT were giving to users, initially setting up their PCs. So you see, 5-7 years we're just changing the number at the end. Yeah.
At the end.
I didn't believe my eyes and my scripts that 20% of the company or of corporate users were breached in a simple way.
Yeah, that's it's hard to predict how such small things can impact security big time. Yeah, it's mind blowing. Okay, guys, we got another questions. Tomasz from YouTube is asking, why are phishing attacks so annoying, and what can I do to avoid phishing attacks? I don't give data or phone number, but I get text messages that I have to pay for TV as I do not even have a TV. So basically, it means that maybe the personal data of this person leaked somewhere, and somebody has his email or a phone number and just sends some phishing attacks. But what can we do about it? Can we report it somehow? Can we configure some spam filters, or can we unsubscribe from some numbers, block some numbers to prevent this stuff? What would you recommend?
As Kostya said already, you should use email service from good service providers. For example, Gmail, they have very powerful anti-spam techniques inside built-in, but nevertheless, and industry is evolving, because number of spam emails that was 5 years or even 10 years ago, it was much more than nowadays. Now there are lots of technical solutions to prevent them. However, sometimes spam emails they reach to inbox to users, but using such simple things as report spam, it works very well. It allows to block sender or even sender domain. There are some tricky techniques to send you spam. For example, what was popular about a year ago, you might got invitation into your calendar. It was not a simple email, it was invitation that was accepted by email filters, because usually it's not the way how spam is spreaded. However, within invitation description you got information that you should or you can get your money or so, but such emails they are blocked nowadays, and even Google they allow it to prevent sending emails to your inbox from entrusted users or from those users which are not in your contact list, etc. So using trusted or good service providers and using report spam, it works quite good now.
Okay. Okay, guys, I think that we're getting towards the end of our today's live, but maybe we could briefly summarize and say some couple of words about different types of threats and techniques. We already mentioned some of those, especially in the context of the cyber war and different attack vectors that attackers were using. if you could maybe summarize them, or maybe provide some publicly known case studies in context of these different techniques, just to have some brief overview of what's happening and what can be expected. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to summarize, we have DDoS attacks and injection attacks, web-based attacks. We have a lot of attacks targeting different well-known services, and as we saw for the last half of a year, there were a lot of vulnerabilities in Microsoft Exchange Server, which is deployed on premises, in very popular Zimbra server. So they will continue to be breached when something is found by researchers. So as Dima said, attackers are constantly scanning the internet, so they know what services do you use, what IP addresses do you have, what ports are open, and when they have a new vulnerability, someone disclosing the vulnerability or a new CVE is registered, they are trying to understand vulnerability can be exploited. They are trying to develop an exploit and breach to the infrastructure. It's regarding the typical day-to-day activity in the internet. In terms of cyber war, you must think from the opposite side, from the let's say the impact, the desired impact of the attackers. First of all, it's of course bring your infrastructure down if you somehow helping Ukraine, and show everyone that you are down. The second is to steal the information and ask for ransomware. So they don't hesitate to ask for money even during the cyber war. So again, they are trying to steal the information, trying to steal the credentials. Credentials can be used to attack this particular company, or they can be used to attack another companies, for example. This is the typical activity for the cyber war. What can we expect for the next year? Of course, it will continue. Much more complicated, because we can see that every day someone discovers new vulnerabilities, so they all will be like used in those attacks. This is the first point. The second point, everyone knows such sites as Zerodium and so on. This is the sites where someone can sell for a very big money vulnerabilities that they are spotted in some systems. In the cybersecurity, white hackers, what are they doing? If they spotted a vulnerability, they will report to the vendor or the responsible group. Black Hat will trade this, and it sometimes costs up to $1 million or $2 million. And that vulnerability, no one knows about it. Vendor doesn't know. He won't patch it in the nearest future until the large incident. So this 0-day can be used and exploited against a company. And as we see, this conflict doesn't go down. So as the budget for to support this conflict, and the attackers will also have more access to those 0 days for some hidden vulnerabilities, advanced tools to exploit the vulnerabilities, and so on. So everyone must be prepared. If you are running business in the internet, you should prepare your business. You should protect that business. Nowadays, it's not time to be greedy of money for some cybersecurity, especially if your web activity or your IT activity brings you the money.
Okay, so challenges ahead of us, and it's not getting easier, it's getting more complicated. as you mentioned, we're seeing more and more sophisticated attacks and approaches from the attacker side. And I think like many companies just are simply unaware of how not secure could potentially their infrastructure be. Because if we're not doing some security audit, some pen testing, then we're just rolling with it and hoping for the best, hoping that we'll not get scanned, we'll not get attacked, and
It's good saying that if
having
you are not aware about some incident inside of your environment, inside of your systems, that doesn't mean that everything is fine and everything is okay. So something might happen, but you might not be aware about that, and that's issue, and so that's our reality.
Yeah,
that's one of the questions that I ask during the security audits at the beginning. So when last was your security breach? If client says that he had no security breaches for 10 years, we see that he is blind on the cybersecurity landscape.
okay, yeah, that's true. I was wondering, because in the context of these changes, do you think that some automated approach for having, your pen testing covered, is it possible? Because I've heard about different security platforms such as Cobalt.io or some, I don't remember the name, but there are a couple of different products here that could do some automated scanning also of your infrastructure, but also some pen testing of your applications, in the context of detecting some injection problems or authentication issues. Is it worth it from your experience? Does it make sense to invest in such solutions, or it doesn't go out
I
that
would
well?
say that pen testing is kind of art. So using such services, you can be checked and validated for common issues and common vectors of breaching. But always there is a way how can attackers circumvent some solutions, some techniques, and they can fulfill what they need. They can foolish users, etc. That's why it's better than have nothing. But if you really care about security, then you should go to professionals that will do much more than just automated tools can do.
And I'll add a few words. Automation is always good because there are a lot of boring stuff that have to be conducted during pen test. So if you have scripts that are you can run at the beginning of pen test, collect a lot of data, and then use this data, it's always good. But you can't rely fully on only automation. So human is still good in this stuff.
So human is not the weakest link. Human is the strongest link is in this
Absolutely.
equation. Only the human can make our systems more secure and can point us the crucial problems of our infrastructure. At the same time, the same human can be the weakest link and can be the easiest to exploit. So I think this is a great summary of our today's top security challenges in 2023 discussion. So yeah, thanks Kostas, thanks Dmitry for your input and some nice fruitful discussion. And thank you to all of you guys, for listeners, for being today with us and listening for this challenges, problems, and recent developments in cybersecurity. So I hope you had a nice time together with us, and thanks for sharing your comments and questions. Of course, if you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube No Fluff Jobs channel, then please do so. You'll be notified about many different nice stuff, among others, new episodes of Technology is Not Evil on the subject of security, but not limited to this area. And also be sure to check job offers of Infopulse at nofluffjobs.com. There are a couple of nice offers there, and if you're interested in security, but not only in this area, also in QA and basic software engineering, Node.js, then please check this out. Maybe there would be something interesting for you. And yeah, thanks Kostas, thanks Dmitry, and we should see you all guys in some next episodes of Technology is Not Evil.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.